Look at this first example. What property is illustrated there? Distributive property. Okay, all we did was distribute that -1/2 to each of the terms, expanded it out into just a single expression. Okay, what about the second example? Okay, when you look at this, you have three things. So a lot of students will see the three things and think associative. Okay, but when you look at these three things, you have this grouping right here. So is the grouping the same or does it change? It's the same, right? So really we only have two groups of things. Is the order of those two groups the same? No, it's 2x first and then this quantity. Here it's the quantity and then the 2x. So the order changes. Change of order is illustrative of commutative property. And then just identify the operation you're adding here. So this is an example of commutative property of addition. Okay. What about C? Here we have three things. So once again, you might think associative. Is there any change in grouping here? No. Is there any change in order? Yeah, when there's a change in order, you're looking at commutative property. And just identify the operation. Here we're multiplying. Okay, so the A and the B switch spots, so there's an order change. Okay, finally, this last example. Okay, again, we're looking at these groupings. Are the groupings the same or different? 2/3 y plus 3z and 2x plus 2/3 y. The group changes. So right now, is the order of the terms changing at all? 2x and then 2/3 y and then z's. X's, then y's, and then z's. So the order doesn't change, but the grouping does. That's associative property. Identify the operation we're adding. All right. I want to show you a couple things, just some mental calculations that take these rules into consideration, even though you don't necessarily think about them. Okay. If I ask you to perform this calculation mentally, quickly, what does that sum equal? 57. And the way that you did this was, you just reordered them, right? Add the 4 and the 16 together. It's much easier to use 20 plus 37. So we used the commutative property here. And you just reordered the terms. What about the following? What does that equal? 170. Once again, you can do this very quickly by just reordering. The 5 times the 2 is easier to think of. 10 times the 17 because we changed the order commutative property. Okay, what if we looked at the following? What's that going to equal? 186, right? Real quick way to do it. You don't have to change the order of anything, but if you just regroup and do the 92 and 8 first. So since we didn't change order, we have associative property. And then finally, as a last example here, what's that product? Again, the 5 and the 2, it's much easier to multiply those. Whenever you're doing mental calculations, look to see, can you manipulate your given values to make it easier for yourself? And that's kind of the whole point of mentally calculating.